What is up, ALI peeps? I am here with my beautiful wife and business partner, Laura, and we are talking about marketing today, but kind of in a different way than we've talked about in the past. So I want to set the stage and then bring you on because you, it's kind of a secret subject so far, we're not going to reveal it, are the master at this subject here. So for us, Platinum Resort, right, we have not really a marketing budget. Okay, we spend some money every now and again on placement agents, but that's not really of our core of our marketing. You can hit our strategic 20 marketing. We talk about it a lot on the podcast and on YouTube. But we implement this structure here, right? So really we have no money that goes every month towards marketing, and we're able to build a massive wait list. We've gotten up, 52 people on the wait list at one point. And every single month, we track all these numbers. We have multiple people adding to our wait list, and usually we're always full. Even when someone passes, it's usually a week or two until we fill that bed. And so that is unheard of for most people, especially big corporate, right? They have all of these big dollars that they're spending on ads and all the different places, marketing in, magazines and all that kind of stuff, right? And we don't do that, but we do something. And I wanted to bring you on to talk about that one thing of what it is, because it's not really in the marketing budget, but I want to show people that it really is dollars that need to be spent because it actually is part of marketing.
Well, what is it? You got to tell the people.
I was building it up.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yes. That is Decor. And I love talking about this because I think most big boxes, if not all of them, get this completely wrong. And I think if they were to design their building a little differently and have the decor in place that really sells the families when they come in, I think that they would be a lot more profitable. And I think that this is something that I really had to sell you on in the beginning, which was a really hard fight in the beginning. So we'll talk about that later on, exactly what that was. But yes, decor is so important for just the income of your business. And I think that this is something that once you hear us talk about it, your mind shift will change to understand why we're saying this.
So when she says decor, just to clarify, we're talking about furniture,
Yep.
the knickknacks, the wall hangings, all of that kind of stuff. So there's kind of two components to this, right? There's your physical building, and there's the actual way that it's built. And a lot of times you can't really change that. You either built it yourself and you designed it that way, and hopefully it's awesome. But sometimes, a lot of times you buy a building, you buy a home, you convert it, and you kind of have that limitations. But that does not mean that you cannot design the furniture and the paint colors and all of those things in a certain way. And so we started in 2020 during COVID with our building on Mesa, and then have now built our mansions at Berry Springs. And man, going back to sales and touring, this is why I'm not doing this episode on furniture. This episode is really on marketing and making money. But I want to tell you that one of Laura's secret sauces is the furniture and the design, the decor stuff. So I wanted to strongly make the correlation that furniture, that design and decor is a strong component to sales. We have people that come in and we won't even say anything. They'll just walk into Platinum and be like, oh, okay, this is where mom needs to be. It doesn't really matter what the price is. I need mom in this home, right? In this mansion. And, there's a lot of staffing that goes into that, and systems and reputation, but it's so very strongly the feel when you walk in, the actual items in the building, how you have laid everything out and all the design and decor stuff. And so I want to emphasize how strongly this is that you need to do this. I see people reach out to me when we're doing workshops on, sales and touring, and they're like, Brett, I can't fill these beds, right? And we're lowering our prices in order to do this. And then, they'll share their website, or I'll look at them like, oh my God, this place is just so ugly. It's like, no crap, you can't make sales. Who would want to put their mom there? It's awful, right? And so people will focus on like, let me just improve my staff. Let me work on these systems. Man, you know what? This is important. A lot of people will neglect this because they think it's fluffy. It's not. This is foundational to making increased profit. And I can tell you firsthand that when you have a gorgeous building, you're just knocking down hurdles, right? You still have to provide great care and have a great reputation. But when you have that first initial like, oh yeah, this is it. This is where mom needs to be. Then it makes everything easier. Then from there, you can build a wait list. And then from there, you can start bumping prices $200 at a time as you can get, higher and higher in the marketplace. So that's what we've done over the last 5 years. And we are competitively kind of the most expensive in our market. And man, so much of it goes back to the design and decor aspects of this.
I have a short story I want to share. So I've walked through a lot of big boxes, a lot of small boxes, a lot of those places in our area. And I'm sure you have too. But there was a couple specific times where I walked in and of course the decor is just horrid. And like, I don't mean to be mean, but like, it's just awful. It's a lot of fabrics, like absorbent fabrics. And so I'm walking around and the lady's giving me a tour and I'm just asking her questions. And I'm walking around and I see one chair without a bottom cushion. So I was like, okay, there's just one chair. And then I go around the corner and then I see another chair with no bottom cushion missing. And I was like, that's really weird, 2 in a row. And then I turn the corner and there's another chair with a missing bottom cushion. And so at that point, I'm like 3 times, I have to ask this lady, like, why is there no cushions here? It's a little odd, right? And she's like, oh yeah, we have one resident who likes to go around and sit on all the chairs and have accidents. And I'm like, okay, but then why don't you just get a leather chair? Like, why don't you get something that's wipeable? They had fabric chairs that were absorbing all of the urine. And so it also attributed to the smell factor in the home. So it's not just, the decor is not just to look great and make sales. Yes, that's also the main factor here. But we're also talking about withholding smells inside of your home as well, which can also deter potential sales. So I feel like there's so many aspects to this, not just for it to look really beautiful, but there's also logistic reasons on why we choose the specific furniture that we have in all of our homes.
And for people who are not operating, you might think, oh, how that maybe not happen very often. We have people through end of life with memory care. They don't even know their name, let alone what a toilet is. They're just like really big baby diapers. And the way you have blowouts with babies, you have blowouts with adults. And all of a sudden it's going up the back and you'll have BM all over the couch or the chair, right? Like you literally just have to throw that away if that's the case, right? You have to have genuine leather. We don't do pleather. We do 100% genuine leather on everything. You can get all sorts of different colors. You can make it gorgeous, but it also costs twice as much.
That's what people get caught up on. I think people get caught up on the initial price tag, the sticker shock of the price of these genuine leather couches and chairs. And yes, they're very expensive, but for a very good reason. They last so long. I mean, we have every single piece of furniture in our original location, which is almost 5 years been open, is still there. And it's still working great. And it's actually looking better than it was before because genuine leather, as it ages, it actually gets softer and it gets more comfortable. So if I were to not buy genuine leather and I were to buy fabric chairs and fabric couches, probably 5 years later, I probably would have had to replace those at least 3 or 4 times. So when you think of it, you're actually saving money because yes, you're forking it up in the beginning. But if I were to replace a fabric couch or chair 3 or 4 times in a 5-year span, it's probably more than the initial cost of a genuine leather one. So I think if you think of it that way, like I'm actually going to be saving money in the grand scheme of things because I'm not going to have to replace it. I think it makes it feel a little bit better in your mind, like that you have to pay this much in the forefront of it.
So I wanted to share the story when we were going through building our first assisted living. And we were getting through to the furniture part. And Laura started sharing some of the links of some of the furniture she wants to buy. And I'm like, just jaw dropped. I'm like, you want to spend, what, $1,000 per chair on these things? And I'm like, babe, that's a bit much, right? Like, I know we want it to be nice, but I know I can find something just as nice for much cheaper. And so I went online and I found a really comfy recliner.
Yeah.
Nice brown. It does happen to be fabric.
Real nice. Yeah.
From Walmart. $350. And she's like, no, babe, it's not going to work. I'm like, this is going to be awesome. So I ordered my chair. She ordered her chair. It was $1,000. It was on sale for $1,000. I think it was like 14 or something regular price. Anyways, we both got the chairs in, sat down in both of them, right, as we're kind of testing. And it's like, oh, okay. I see the difference. We feel the difference. Like it was like sitting on clouds, the chair that Laura has. And honestly, if you go on the virtual tour at Platinum Resort, our website, you can see these chairs in the great room. They're still there. They're gorgeous. We bought the exact same chairs for all the new mansions. And so it was 3 times the cost. It was on sale at 3 times the cost. And you know what? That was a lesson for me. And that was the beginning of this lesson because I am very financially conservative.
And a stickler in the finances.
Yes, I am going through looking at those expenses so hard. And you know what? One of the lessons that I really learned was, okay, yes, logically speaking, this is going to last so much longer, right? And you can make an argument that, hey, you know what? I'm going to save money over the long term. But still, saving money over the long term is hard if you're struggling to make that investment, right? So from a person who focuses a lot on finances, I was focusing on the expenses. The lesson that I learned is I need to be focusing on the income. And that's what I want to share with you today is that your income can be substantially higher. It's not the difference of $700 a chair. It's the difference of $10,000, $15,000 a month that you are missing because you're not selling all these rooms. And because you're not building a wait list, you're not adding, $500 a month per bed, right? That's an extra $8,000 a month. You might be missing $500 per room plus have 2 empty rooms. That's a difference of $24,000 a month. Your expenses are all the same, right? Your overhead's all the same. You're losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I really want to stress that it's so important. Like you're going to spend 2-3 times as much on furniture, but you're going to do it one time, just once. Whereas most of these places that are not going above and beyond on the product side, you know what they're doing for marketing? They're paying placement agents, right? So let's just say you have to fill 6 or 8 beds per year, and they're going and they're spending $3,000, $5,000, $6,000 for placement agents that many times, right? That's like $60,000 a year they're spending in placement agents. That is literally marketing dollars, right? You might not be paying paid ads or newspapers or something like that, but you're spending that money on placement agents. We don't really spend any money on placement agents. We do from time to time when we want to fill something quick and we have a great resident. But ultimately, our bread and butter is not to use placement agents, right? It's our strategic 20 marketing, but that is so very much because of the physical building and the reputation, right? But even before you have a reputation, you start with that physical building. So from that perspective, right, you're losing hundreds of grand a year and you're already spending the money, right? If you did not, you're starting brand new, you're opening, and you're going to say, hey, you know what? I'm only going to spend 1/3 the budget on furniture. You know what you're going to do? You're going to spend $4,000 or $5,000 per resident to bring them in. You just spent that money. It just went to placement agents, right? Is your marketing budget to placement agents? Or what I'm trying to convince you to do is spend that marketing budget really on your furniture because it's a one-time spend instead of spending it every single year over and over again.
So the lesson here is if I really want to buy something, that I should buy something that you think is good and then something that I think is good, and then you'll realize that what I have is better.
I don't know about that. I think the lesson here is show me how this will make me money and then we can buy it.
No, it was actually a really good eye-opener, even for me, because I knew the chair was nicer, but I think that having Brett see it, sit in it, and look at it and see like, oh, wow, this is not a good quality chair. It's not going to go very far. Was a really solidified in his mind. But another thing I wanted to know is family members mention the decor when they come in the house. And I think that's something big. If they're mentioning how beautiful things are, if they're mentioning like they touch the chairs and mention, oh my gosh, it feels like butter. That must be a real nice chair. If they look at the art or whatever on the wall and they feel a connection to it, like we're faith-based home, and so I have a lot of Christian art up in the house, and I think that really draws in the I don't want to say the correct grandparent, but like someone who shares our morals and values, and it draws them in, and so I think that the importance of this cannot be more solidified in my mind, 5 years down the road, now actually living it and seeing the impact that it does have and how easy it is to sell rooms when you have beautiful furniture. And you're probably asking, okay, well, I don't know what furniture I need. Like, what do I do? I literally just researched. I researched online my favorite designers. I researched like hotel furniture. I researched all sorts of furniture, found the furniture, saw that it was very expensive, and then I could find other furniture that was in alignment with kind of how much I wanted to spend for the couch. Like, for instance, our couches at our new builds are $1,700 each. And that may sound really expensive to you. And it's a full genuine leather couch. You may only want to spend $600, but you can find a couch that's very similar to mine. Maybe it's smaller, maybe you can find something that's not 60 inches long, but find something that's 40 inches long or however you need for your space. But you can find designer type of furniture that's genuine leather that isn't as expensive as like the name brands that you hear out there. So just do research. I can't even tell you how many hours and hours and hours of research I have done. And Brett's laughing because he knows like every night I would be online researching furniture. And it probably was a little much, but it's okay because I got it right. So so it was worth it in the end. But do research, not just a couple hours. Like, it was months of time that I put into making sure that it was the right fit, the right color, that it was going to look good in the space, not take up too much space, not take up too little space, measuring, doing all the things, like taping out exactly where everything was going to be in the room. And I went above and beyond with the thought process of it. And in the end, it was a winning aspect for us.
Yeah. So if somebody has ugly furniture, I would suggest just kind of one room at a time, right? This is your marketing dollars. Just go and upgrade, especially if you have fabric couches or chairs, right? You're going to have a smelly house, smelly building, right? Genuine leather. It's like waterproof,
it's
heat-proof. It's not going to hold any smells. So just go start switching those things. One of the bigger things you talked about, the numbers for couches and recliners, are tables. We spent a good amount on our tables. We bought our dining room tables from Restoration Hardware, and they were about $4,000 per table.
Yep.
Solid wood, like 3-inch. They're reclaimed barn wood. That's like, it's already, the wood was like 100 years old. And these are just signature pieces. They are talking pieces. When people walk in and they just know like, okay, these are my kind of people right here. This is, mom is bougie. She's got money, or maybe mom doesn't, but daughter's got money. This is where we need to be, right? Like, I feel comfortable here. You ever go into like one of those hotels when we're traveling? I know Laura does. She's a little bougie. You go to a hotel, it's like, no, Laura can't stay here. Right? Then we go.
I don't want to get bed bugs, okay?
We go to like a nice one. She's like, okay, this is my place, right? It's the same thing. Attract the right avatar and you will be able to start bumping those prices.
And your avatar, that may have ruffled some feathers, that statement that Brett just said. But the avatar that you were looking for is a private pay individual that is going to be spending $7,000 to $12,000 a month on your services. And if someone has $7,000 to $12,000 per month without insurance help, is probably going to be someone who is a little bit more bougie and a little bit more well off. And so you have to cater to that. So I think it's really important to know who your avatar is and what they're looking for and what their lifestyle is so that you can cater to it. And I think that that's just kind of a basic selling point, is to know that and to incorporate that into your home.
So to go even further on that, we talked about the great room and the dining room stuff. We designed all the bedrooms. All of our new bedrooms, they're pretty large bedrooms, right? They're 330 square feet with their own private bath. We put in fireplaces in every single bedroom, right? We have an actual fireplace wall with, it's not real fire, but electric fireplace with the mantle and the TV. Everyone has their own fireplace, right? They have their own built-in dressers and closets. We did a big custom accent wall on the wall. We have every person, we provided a leather recliner into every one of our bedrooms, right? So you can go, you don't have to stage all of your rooms, but if you're struggling to make sales, man, spend some money, right? Spend $3-4 grand, deck out one of those rooms, and it makes a difference. You can start bumping the price a little bit.
Yeah, you're either losing $8,000 to $12,000 on not filling a room, or you're spending $4,000 to really stage a room, make it look beautiful, and then you could probably fill that room so much quicker than losing out on all of this income just because you don't want to fork out the $4,000 to stage a room. So I think thinking about it differently, I think is pivotal for this, because if you're just thinking about I'm going to spend $4,000, I'm not going to get it back, you are going to get it back because you're going to fill that room so much quicker.
Yeah. It's 2 weeks of empty bed is $4,000, right? Like, how quickly are you selling your rooms now? And if you're not even selling your rooms, then dang, you better put this on a credit card. You need to spend the money, right? Income is more important than the expenses.
Yep.
So I think when we first got into this at Mesa, it was hard because we raised all of our money from private money, right? We did not use any type of bank financing. On Berry Springs, we used SBA, and we had learned this lesson. And so I gave ourselves this big old cushion of dollar amounts for our furniture and decor. And I sent that to the bank and said, here's what we're getting. Here's our dollar amounts, right? Like, we had to put 15% down of the whole project. So that included 15% of the furniture. We were only paying in cash 15% of all of Laura's gorgeous bougie furniture, right? So you don't have to come up with all of this money. Put it into your deal, itemize that stuff out, make it part of specifically like some type of SBA loan for this kind of stuff. And it's no big deal. This is now marketing dollars, focus on top line income. This strategy literally makes us a couple $100,000 a year, and it should do the same for you.